Hello, I'm Dr. Clint Sexton with Naperville Integrated Wellness. And I'm doing a 3-part series on the COVID-19 virus, vaccines, how this affects other viruses in our body, how our immune system responds to all of these different things, and then how this can also be a factor in terms of autoimmunity, in terms of triggering autoimmunity, or if you have an autoimmune disease, how this can affect you. So this is part 1, and we're just going to start with just talking about the virus itself. So we could get into all the different things about the virus and talking about spike proteins, and if it's it's an RNA virus, and the difference between RNA and DNA viruses, and RNA viruses mutate more, and we could get into all the details of it, but really I don't think that's really going to help us in terms of what can we do? What sort of things can we do to help our immune system and help mitigate any negative effects of either getting infected with the virus or using the vaccines? So I'm not taking any stance here on whether you should or shouldn't vaccinate. That's a decision for you to make. I'm just going to talk about the 2 different parts of this and how it affects the rest of our immune system. And that's the whole point. That this is how I'm viewing this. This is how I'm viewing COVID-19, the virus, and the vaccines. I'm just looking to see what this is doing to our immune system, and not that I'm saying it's a particularly special virus and that it does so much more than other viruses, because we'll get into all the other viruses that are in our bodies and that are active. But I see this as a triggering mechanism. I mean, it's triggering other issues with the immune system that are already present. Okay. And so whether you get infected with the virus or whether you get the vaccine, and if you have a bad effect from getting infected, or if you have a bad effect from the vaccine, I'm looking at is basically the same thing, is that either of those would have triggered other immune system issues going on in the body, such as if we have chronic inflammation that's going on in the body, other viral infections, chronic viral infections that are present, or other infections in the body that may or may not be viral. Maybe we're talking about Lyme disease or bacterial issues or overgrowth of yeast and these other burdens that might be on the immune system. And this would go into things such as our diet and food sensitivities and food allergies and the burden they put on the immune system. So, we could just stack and start going through all the issues that are putting a burden on the immune system. I've been talking about the immune system for years in terms of that we had this hidden epidemic of immune system problems, and now we have a virus that is bringing attention to the immune system and immune system problems. And you can find studies in every different direction about the virus or the vaccines, and people having adverse responses and not having adverse responses, or you could just go round and round with it. So instead, I think we should be putting our attention on the system that's being affected. I can't change the virus. I don't make vaccines. You probably can't change the virus. You're probably not making vaccines. So what can we do? What can we do for our health? What system should we be focusing on? We should be focusing on our immune system so that our immune system has an appropriate response to the virus or the vaccine. That's the bottom line. That's why some people can get the virus, they didn't even know they had it, and they develop antibodies to it. And you have people who go, get the vaccine, it's no problem. You get other people who get the vaccine, they have devastating reactions to it. So again, what's different? It's the same virus and similar vaccine or vaccines, but it's how our immune system responds to it, and that's where we should put our attention, because if we put our attention on that, that's something we can do. That's something we can work with. That's something we can help use, to protect ourselves, and so that our body and our immune system has the appropriate response to a virus or vaccine. So an appropriate response is you either get infected with the virus or you get the vaccine and your immune system makes some antibodies without any major issues occurring. That's the ideal situation. But that's not happening for a lot of people, so this is why we have to talk about it. And this really ties into functional medicine, because in functional medicine, we're looking at what can improve the overall functioning of the immune system. This is why we're talking about people's diets. We talk about leaky gut. And we're talking about how the immune system interacts with other systems in the body. So really, it's really another functional issue. Okay, so that's where we want to put our attention on this. So I'm not going to give you a whole bunch about the virus because it doesn't really change anything in terms of how we would go about it. So in the next segment, I want to talk about some of these other immune system burdens that are making the virus and the vaccines such a problem. All right, thank you.